The Great Barrier Reef is home to thousands of different species of fish, coral, and mammals along Queensland's coast. Despite being considered one of the world's best managed reefs, it is under threat from a number of different natural and anthropogenic factors. The impact of climate change on the reef is the most threatening to the future sustainability. Through the rise in sea temperatures and acidification, climate change is threatening the marine life, including 6 of the world's 7 endangered turtles, by damaging their habitat, reproductive processes, and food sources. As a priority animal, marine turtles are the most vulnerable to the threats caused by climate change. Their reproduction processes is dependent on both air and sea temperatures. There is clear evidence that even a small increase of heat of 1 degree or less per year is affecting their numbers. During the 1970s, there were over 1,000 female turtles, which is now decreased today to a few hundred. If these figures continue, the turtle species will be faced with extinction. Rising temperatures can also affect sex ratio and survival of eggs, as they require strict temperatures during nesting. This could be detrimental to future breeding cycles. The rising sea levels can also impact the survival of eggs laid on sand, as high water levels may wash away their nests. Further, their food sources, seagrass, is also affected by the temperature of the sea, and without food, the turtles have no chance of survival. The World Heritage Committee has previously threatened that the current World Heritage listing will be downgraded to endangered if improvements are not made. The diminishing health of the Great Barrier Reef has already resulted in the reef being placed on probation by the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, pending the vital improvement of health to prevent the loss of the World Heritage listing. If this is lost, it will not only mean that the reef has reached a point where habitats, species, animals are endangered and the reef weakened to a point of extinction, but it will mean a loss of vital funding for research and protection. The National Heritage listing currently contributes largely to the number of visitors to the area. This could be reduced heavily or even lost completely without this listing, not to mention the embarrassment to Australia. Without tourists, the Australian economy will lose $5.4 billion tourism industry, as well as around 69,000 jobs in the region, which is already facing high unemployment rates. These are all reasons why protecting the reef is more than just conservation. In order to protect our reef, which in turn will mean a sustainable future, a maintained World Heritage listing, and ongoing tourism for Queensland, a number of steps are necessary. Following the implementation of the probation period by the National Heritage Committee, the Australian Government quickly responded with an Outlook Plan. The 2014 Outlook Plan has been used to guide the national, Queensland and local governments to take the necessary steps to establish a sustainability plan to begin in 2015 and continue through to 2050. The Reef 2050 Long-Term Sustainability Plan will implement legislative protection as well as investment of over $2 billion over the next 10 years. While some actions have been implemented, others remain in planning stages. However, focusing on the efforts towards minimizing the threats towards the reef from climate change, international, national, and local levels efforts have been combined to reduce impacts. This alone is suggested as being the reef's best protection. The Great Barrier Reef Marine Park Authority currently have a climate change action plan in place for the reef, which focuses on the necessary activities that will help the reef and the surrounding economy. Australia has implemented a $2.55 billion emissions reduction fund in order to reduce emissions 5% by 2020. The first period of reduction has proven successful. This success, along with the government plans, combined with the research and funding by the Worldwide Fund for Nature and the Great Barrier Reef Foundation, the reef may have a good chance of a sustainable future. It is clear that the necessary protection of the reef and a sustainable future can be achieved through government intervention, and it is evident that the government has recognised this through their planning and implementation. It is important that the Queensland and Australian governments continue to recognise the importance of funding and planning, which should be contributed to the ongoing protection of the reef.
Created using Powtoon.